Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's show. We are back up in Lake of the Woods with our good friend Joel Henry, tourism director here for Lake of the Woods. Hey Joel, the last time I was up here, we went up to the northwest angle, and that was definitely on my bucket list, and what an incredible place. But we talked a couple weeks ago and you said, hey, are you into fishing rivers? And I'm like, well, rivers are probably my all-time favorite place to fish. In the Rainy River, I've never had the opportunity to fish this. Whatever you want to catch that's out in the lake is in the river too.
Hey, we got a lot of walleyes in the system, and they're all catching walleyes, and the walleyes are biting. The river in the summer gets very little attention. There's walleyes, there's bass, there's pike, there's sturgeon, and you got it to yourself. It's also small water, meaning if you got a 14 or 16 foot boat, you can come on the Rainy River. There's 42 miles of navigable Rainy River. There's 42 miles of navigable river with boat ramps all the way along, including the town of Butte. There's a couple of them. So, there's a lot of options. There's so much shoreline, so many holes, sand rifts, current breaks, rock, sand, weeds. I mean, there's so much to fish.
That lake can get rough. There's no doubt about that. It gives you that option, especially if you have your family with you and your wife doesn't want to be bounced around out there or the kids. You can have the option to come in and fish the river and enjoy the same great fishery that you would out in the lake. Hey everybody, hang on to your heinies. I got a feeling it's going to be one of them days.
We're starting out right in the town of Butte, and we pulled up to Butte Bay. We've got the International Bridge behind us, and we got the bay right here where the city is, and Willie Walleye. We're just going to go in and we're just going to work that bay a little bit, and then we're going to do a little bit of a milk run and work some different inlet rivers and some bays, just working down the river.
Fish on. Nice job, Joel. That didn't take you long.
Did not take long.
What species is it, is what I want to know. Got to start somewhere.
There's fish.
Bass. Nice job. Nice job, Joel.
No, is it a pike?
Oh,
it's a little pike.
Little
Look
piker.
at that. I can't believe it.
The old kittywampus buzzbait. It's a couple things, Jaron. When you get your first girlfriend, you fall madly in love with her, what's going to be your nickname for her? You always have to have a nickname for your... Bub? Bub? Like Bubba? Bubba? That doesn't sound very sexy or romantic or cool. You know that, hey,
look at Willie Walleye is right there, Larry.
Right there, look at that. Match him up with that. Wow, I'll tell you, you know what? When you start thinking about one of the #1 walleye fisheries in the country, it doesn't surprise me that you catch one on a spinnerbait in a bunch of lily pads and weeds and pencil reeds right there.
It's kind of appropriate, isn't it, where we caught it?
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Right downtown Butte.
Here we go, Joel.
Good job, Larry.
Yep, smallie, along with a little cabbage. That's musky cabbage there, my friends.
Pike.
Got a pike?
Yeah.
No, that's right where I caught that smallmouth. Hey, I'll tell you what, we got a pocket of some good fish. I caught a smallmouth, you caught a nice pike, and now I got a decent smallmouth right here.
Nice bass.
Yeah. No, that's interesting, Joel. Like you were just saying, before we were fishing some thicker weeds, and we were catching pike, but they're all small. Now we came into the sparse stuff on the main river itself, and game on.
But isn't it fun working that shoreline?
It is. I love the cast, and again, I'm a river guy. I love catching different species. It doesn't matter if it's bass, pike, walleye. So far, it's been a little of each. Hey, troll! How much dumber can you yell? Every bridge has a troll. Hey everybody, it's our Leroy lunchtime. What a perfect thing to have in the boat today. You know what? A nice snack is always good, right, Joe?
Oh, super.
And today we've got the pizza parlor sticks, and I'll tell you, these are absolutely delicious. Joe, I bet you've never had one of these.
I've never had one of those, nope.
Well, you're gonna. Nice job. Looks like a better fish, huh?
Yeah. The boy sure digging, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that much.
that's one thing about smallmouth. They are fighting machines.
Lake of the Woods doesn't get the credit for smallmouth, but there's some actual footballs in here. And I'll tell you what, if people ever started fishing them, I think you'd be happily surprised. So basically what we're doing now is we're just fishing the edge of the river, and there's current that's kind of ripping through, and then there's little breaks. We're fishing the reeds, so we're casting in the reeds, and if you got a spinner bait or a chatterbait or something like that, you can kind of get into the layer of reeds a little bit without getting too hung up and pulling that out. And You know, so far we've just got some pike, we've got some bass doing that, we've got a walleye doing that, but we're really kind of targeting the shallower weeds, the emergent vegetation. So far, our pattern has been most of the fish have been on the main river against the shoreline rather than the bays, but we're not done yet.
Just started working them edges because that weeds are so thick right there. Ooh, what do you got there now? Oh, I didn't get to see that one. Oh, nice bass, real nice bass. Did you put something else on? Nice bass, nice. Oh, that is a dandy, Joe. You were talking before about Lake of the Woods and having such a great population of smallmouth and some big fish. Well, that is definitely a big one. Every time we film with you, Joe, it's your big fish.
You know, it helps the fish right body of water, I gotta say.
I would say, Joe, resort owners have got to be some of the hardest working people out there, right? And if you're not passionate about people and passionate about working hard, owning a resort is definitely not the thing to do.
Well, you know what? You got to be hardworking. You got to be resilient. You got to overcome a lot of obstacles. You got to be able to market and have a restaurant in some cases and a bar, and there's a whole bunch of businesses built into one.
Hey Joe, we're gonna switch gears here a little bit. I want to catch a sturgeon, maybe a couple sturgeon. So when you're looking for sturgeon, we're obviously gonna be looking for holes, but we're gonna be using our side imaging too and utilizing electronics. Obviously, some of these sturgeon can be up to 60 inches. So, I mean, where do you start when you have so much river?
Yeah, you know, and holes and flats, right? And you know, with a little bit of current this year, you know, there's always fish on holes. Normally when you find a hole, I like to graph it, side scan it. A lot of times I find those fish, they can be anywhere, but a lot of times those fish are on the top end of that hole. They keep their nose in the current, kind of swimming forward.
Okay, and everything's going over the top of them. Yeah. They're on the top end of it.
For eating.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I think the other thing is with the current we have this year, we got more current than normal. So eddies, getting out on a flat area where there's a little bit of a break.
That makes a lot of sense right there too.
And you know, with your electronics you have on this boat, there's no reason why we can't drive around and spot a few fish.
Right.
And then that'll kind of give us a starting point to anchor up.
We could spot lock on them, but you know, it's a lot easier like using the 28-pound Navy anchor, just throwing that out there. And you know, typically how long will you give a spot when you go there?
Normally 30 minutes.
Oh, there's one right here. There's a big one right here. See him? Right there.
Yep.
That was a big one right there. Yep, right there he is. Right there. Just went by him. That was definitely a sturgeon. Not a lot of times anymore I use a regular anchor, sometimes for perch fishing, but for sturgeon fishing, another one, or preferably a fiberglass rod.
Yep.
Like we're fishing, like I use when I'm fishing big flatheads. I'm using 80 to 100 pound test Power Pro.
Yeah.
And there's a special rig that, you know, it's kind of a local rig that you guys call a sturgeon rig. And let's kind of go through that. I got some in the package behind you.
Yeah, so here's a sturgeon rig. And what it is, it's 18-inch, 60-pound leader material with a 4/0 circle hook.
Okay.
Now, a couple of things important there. First off, you don't want a long leader. And the reason you don't want a long leader after your sinker is because you don't want in a current, you don't want that whipping back and forth. Sturgeon are rather more stationary.
Yep.
So the stationary, the more still you can keep it, the better. Secondly, that circle hook. You know, that circle hook's important because when a sturgeon takes that all the way down, when you set the hook on a circle hook, you're not going to set the hook. You're just going to reel tight. What'll happen is that circle hook will come from outside their gullet. It'll get them in the lips. What we're going to do is we're going to put a no roll, which is a flat sinker, above it. In today's current, we're going to use probably a 4, 5, or 6 ouncer.
Well, let's kind of show everybody. I got a pile of sinkers there too. Let's show everybody really what a no roll sinker is, and obviously having a variety of different weights. It all really depends on where you're anchoring in the river. If you're on a corner on a current break, obviously you're not going to need as much weight. But right now we're on a straight stretch right here. There's a hole behind us, and you definitely need enough weight.
We're gonna try it. We're gonna see if we're sitting still on it. If not, we'll add more weight. In some cases, people have done 2 sinkers together. It's ideal to use 1, but if you have to use 2 together, no problem.
Looks like it's got some weight to it.
Yeah.
we just moved everybody to another hole. We marked a ton of stuff. I think you got a sturgeon.
Fish. I got sturgeon.
You got woo! Sturgeon! Yeah, I'm loving it.
Hit that big net of yours already.
Yeah. Only problem, you know me, everybody. We got a slight problem. I do have a net, but it's not a sturgeon net. I'm hoping the sturgeon gets his head right inside of the hat and you can't see anymore, and then I'm gonna lift them up. Jojo!
I think we're gonna need a bigger net.
Wow, Joe, I didn't think when you originally set the hook on that fish, it was that big. Oh, there he is. Okay, so it's not a monster, but
nope.
I can't imagine when we hook into a 100-pounder. Get in there, buddy. There we go.
Stop. Larry! No!
Jaron, that's a good way to start it off,
yeah,
you know? I'm loving
Rainy
that.
River, baby.
Rainy River. Let's see how many we can get this afternoon.
Right.
Up on the Rainy here, you can pretty much fish sturgeon year-round. There is a catch and release season, and there is a keep season, as they call it, where you can get a tag for one fish.
If you're fishing during what they call the keep season, you can keep one sturgeon per calendar year. And it's a $5 sturgeon tag. And then when you catch a sturgeon, you actually have to tag that with a tag,
okay,
and then register it. Now, the limit you can keep, 45 to 50 inches between there, or 1/75.
Okay.
And when you're fishing that, of course, it's just like it says. You can fish them, you can catch them, you can release them, but no keeping.
Okay.
And then we do have just a small period of time when they're spawning that they are closed. People fish in the traditional walleye run in the spring up the Rainy River, but you have a good number of people that are actually fishing sturgeon then too. But there's a lot of very nice options on the Rainy River. March 1st to April 14th, it's catch and release only in 4 Mile Bay and the Rainy River. Now it's catch and release only, but I'll tell you what, the reason people come here is because you get a chance to catch a 30, 31, 32, 33 inch walleye.
Big fish.
There's some monsters in here, and you know, if you hit it right, you're gonna catch a lot of fish. But of course, you also got your mixed bag of pike, smallmouth bass, you got some crappie, some perch, and of course you got your sturgeon, which is a very popular fish. We get a whole bunch of emerald shiners from the lake running up the Rainy River in the fall. What happens is those walleyes, of course, are very close behind them. So you'll see in the fall at night, you'll see on the end of the docks, people will have these lights right over the surface of the water. And then they got those nets a few feet underneath. And when the shiners are running, you'll see gallons of emerald shiner just swirling under that light. What you do is you pull down on that handle, that net comes up, and they dump them in the live well, and that's how they harvest minnows in the fall. But with that going on, you know, you got a lot of walleyes coming up, and that's why they call it the fall run of walleyes. Those walleyes will chase those shiners up in the fall. From the mouth of the Rainy River, where it enters Lake of the Woods, you know, all the way up to Birchdale really is 42 miles of good navigable waterway. In addition, it's kind of cool because halfway across the river is the international dividing line, U.S.-Canada border.
Make sure you guys always take time to check out the Rainy River because there's always something going on here. What an awesome day we had on the Rainy River. Let's go back and grab some dinner. That is the awesome part I love about Lake of the Woods. There's so many different resorts. Whatever you really are hungry for, you're gonna find something that's gonna fit your need. This is probably one of the most family-friendly areas that I have ever been in when it comes to multiple different resorts, different varieties of things. It's not just the fishing.
So many different kind of resorts up at Lake of the Woods, and these are good people. You know, they haven't turned Minnesota nice, and I tell you, these resorters work hard, and they really lay out the red carpet. And everything from homemade cheeseburgers, homemade pizzas, prime ribs, salad bars in some cases. I mean, there's really, and of course, don't forget the walleye fries.
Hey everybody, I'll tell you what, we will see you guys back in the morning.
Built for fishermen, built by fishermen. Really, that says it all.
It's the family here. It's not a big conglomerate, it's a family.
They treat you, you feel like you're in a family, you know.
When you put those two together, an amazing product and amazing people, it's just the type of company you want to be involved with.
Not only because of just the great boats, but because of the camaraderie that the Warrior family has.
The customer service is amazing. They never leave you hanging.
So come join the Warrior family. I always love in the mornings that you start off, I got a sweatshirt on, you got your rain suit on, you know, it's probably 60 some degrees out, you know. I can already feel that sun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of them high 80s, low 90-degree days. We'll be shedding down pretty fast, but it's almost a perfect day. A lot of wind today, again, for the guys that are fishing out on the lake, but in the river here, you know, you're pretty secluded for the most part. This is not too bad of conditions. Like we were talking yesterday, what a great option when you come up here to be able to have this river as a backup, or if you're just a river guy like me, a river person like me, you can utilize this and catch all the fish you want to catch. Hey, I'll tell you what, we're turning back down. We just came through here in about a 100-yard stretch. We saw look like three decent sturgeon. So we're gonna set up just above them a little ways and throw our lines back there and see what happens. Well, you can see, you know, this fish right here, you know, is only about 5 feet from the boat. He's right there. And just off the bottom about a foot. So that's 4 diff sturgeon we've seen in this little stretch right here. You know, we're gonna set up right now, and I got a lot of confidence. You know, we probably should have done that yesterday. We were so excited about fishing is that we did use the side scan, but we didn't really utilize all the different electronics that we have. You know, and you think about this, you pay a lot of money for this stuff, you know, a unit like this, you know, $3,000 to $5,000. You know, the problem is, for a guy like me, that I'm old school and I love to just fish, and I need to, again, take the time and utilize the tools that I have, and obviously it's going to make me a better fisherman, and I need all the help I can get. No, I'm on the board, baby.
That's our little sturgeon. Oh, look at that, that's cute.
Hey Joe, let's talk about the sturgeon population here on the Rainy River, because at one time it was threatened.
Now check this out, when sturgeon are little, you guys, they had these real sharp things, they can cut you. Those are along both sides, real sharp. Those are called scutes.
Scutes?
And yep, scutes.
Scutes?
S-C-U-T-E-S,
okay,
scutes.
Yep.
And what they do is they protect the sturgeon from predation. Then what happens is the sturgeon get larger, those start getting more dull, but then their sheer size protects them.
Right. Well, what I have here now, it's a little bit bigger than the last one I caught. Hey, I'm just counting them. That's 2 for me.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, I'll tell you what a great experience it was on this trip. Again, coming up, like last time we came up and did the Northwest Angle. This time we got to fish the Rainy River. You know, I learned a ton about this river, but typically in the summer, this is not an area that a lot of people fish. Spring and fall, you know, people flock to the Rainy River itself.
People come up in the spring because the walleye, so many walleyes from Lake of the Woods get constricted in the small river, and they're pigs going up to spawn. That's the spring, and then the fall, and maybe you'll have a chance to experience that yet, but I'll tell you what, those shiners, those emerald shiners run up to the river in the fall, and those walleyes are close behind. And again, you get them constricted, and it's normally a jig bite. It's a fun bite.
Yeah, that's my kind of thing. You know, we kind of have that same kind of bite on a lot of the rivers, the Wisconsin River, the Wolf River. You get that migration of walleyes that follows the shiners in too, so it's no different here on the Rainy River. You know, again, we kind of went over this quite a few times, but it's just one of them kind of things that gives you another option. I really want people to know when you come up to Lake of the Woods and you go out on the lake and you catch your limits of walleyes and you have plenty of time to fish for something else, pop into the river.
You know, the other thing too, Larry, is, you know, when it gets real windy, what a nice harbor to come in. You get 42 miles of navigable waterway. But it's a great place to come up. It's beautiful. Tell you, come up in the fall and fish the river. Man, I'll tell you, the migration's going on overhead. It's just the trees are lit up with colors. It's just a special place.
Hey everybody, we want to thank you for joining our show this week. Like we do each and every week, we want to give special thanks to all of our military men and women for the great service that they give this country in the past and in the present. Also, we want to thank all of our firefighters, all of our Coast Guard, and all of our paramedics, and of course all of our law enforcement agents for the great service they also give us. Hey, no doubt we are still living in the greatest country in the world, and yes, it is a great day to be alive, and the best part is we're going to see you guys again next week.
Hey guys, it's Jared here. Hey, this week's giveaway, we got a magic bait carrier and we got the crawler camp with some bedding here. And this week's giveaway winner is Florida Skywatcher. Huge congrats to you. Make sure you shoot us an email at larrysmithoutdoors@gmail.com. We'll get your information and get this sent out to you. And for the rest of you guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button for your chance to win a next week's giveaway. And with that being said, back to the woods I go.